Um, what I want to do first of all, I know that we're probably all in somewhat of a state of surprise and shock because many of us grew up with Her Majesty the Queen. I've never known anything else, anyone else. My parents are of Caribbean descent, so being part of the Commonwealth was something which I grew up with. And she was like the nation's grandmother, as everybody said. So I just want to take a moment to acknowledge the great work that she did in representing us as a country, in upholding her duties at really difficult times through history, but also even in this time where we're coming together as a nation to grieve and acknowledge the work that she did. It's really kind of harking back to what this weekend's about in terms of doing the most good. Not everyone's a royalist. I am by no means a royalist, but I think we can all appreciate the fact that she was a wonderful role model for so many. So I just want to tip my hat, as it were, to Her Majesty before we get started. And I will introduce myself. For those of you who don't know, has anyone seen me on social media? Yeah, yes, it's mine. All right, sweet. Has anyone never seen me before? You've never seen me before? Gee, all right. No pressure then. No pressure. My name is Blackstock. I've been a chiropractor. This is me, if you haven't already guessed. I've been a chiropractor for almost 20 years. So that puts me as somewhat of a, I guess like a granddad almost now in terms of kind of chiropractic experience. I graduated from the Timothy Chiropractic College. There's one. Straight to numbers, come on. And then I spent some time kind of nomadically moving around, kind of just trying to find my feet. I got into chiropractic really off the back of wanting to help people and wanting to do the most good. And it's a wonderful, wonderful profession. And I'm glad to be, and still be a part of it. So when I'm not in practice, you will often see me either ferrying around one of my three kids. I've got a teenage boy now, which is interesting. And then I've got two girls, which is also interesting. And if I'm not doing that, you will probably see me exercising, because fitness and exercise is a big part of my life. So what I want to do today is I want to speak about 5 things that I found useful in terms of doing the most good. When Connor and Mike invited me to speak again, and thank you so much for inviting me back. I thought I started up enough the first time around, so thank you for bringing me back in. It was one of my questions that I asked was, what's the theme of the week? That gives me a good idea in terms of what to speak about. And doing the most good. Doing good is a massive ethereal thing. What's good to one person is not going to be good to another. So I thought, well, how do we handle this? How do we do the most good? And I figured there are 5 things that I've certainly found to be really useful when it comes to doing that. And I hope that I will be able to kind of share them with you. Would that be right this morning? Yeah? All right, super. Let's see if this works. What does it mean to do the most good? Let's start with number 1, this dude. I'm taking his phone. Hopefully he's looking at me. Health is probably, and I know it sounds cliche, but it very much is the foundation on which we build everything. Without good health, it's seriously hard to get anything else done. Now, I was looking at pictures last night, as you do, on social media, just to see what everyone's up to, and see what the lions and stuff are up to. And I can see that you all, after the day, went out to have a few drinks. Has anyone here ever had a hangover? Yeah? Was it pleasant? Yes or no? No? Who here has ever had the mother of all hangovers? Where you wake up and you think, my God, please, if you deliver me from this, I promise you I will never touch alcohol again. Has anyone ever had a moment like that? Yeah? Right. How easy is it to get done what we need to get done when we feel like crap? Easy or hard? It's hard. Now, some people don't do good, not because they don't want to, or because they have an opportunity, but they're not doing their best, they're not doing their most good, as you would say, because they haven't got the energy to, they haven't got the drive, they haven't got the verve, the joie de vivre, right? Now, I'm not saying, and this is not me having a go at this guy, because I'm sure he's a lovely man, but is he going to be putting himself in the best state possible to do the most good? I'm going to say probably not. Now, this is not me, like I say, saying that you need to look a certain way or behave a certain way. But this is me saying that when it comes to your health, I would suggest at some point in time, if you're not dedicating time to how you eat, how you rest, how you sleep, what supplements you may or may not be taking, getting adjusted regularly or massage or whatever it might be, if you're not putting your health as a priority, I guarantee you, you'll be setting yourself up to fail in some way, shape, or form down the line. Does that make sense? So when it comes to doing the most good, I firmly believe that really we need to have a little look and think, can I commit over the next 30 days, 60 days, 3 months, how long it is you choose, to really focus on my health, to give myself as an individual the best opportunity of doing the most good, right? So the first thing of the 5 things we'll speak about today, or we'll speak about, is your health. Now, after health, what comes next? Focus. Got a show of hands. This is a pub trivia. Does anyone like pub trivia here? Anyone do pub quizzes? Right, see how good you are. Hands up if you think you have more than 100 thoughts in one day. That's everyone. Right, keep your hands up if you think it's more than 500. More than 1,000? More than 2,000? Oh, they're starting to drop now. Right. Who thinks, keep your hands up if you think you have more than 4,000 thoughts in a day. More than 6,000? All right, nice. All right, all of you that have still got your hands up, gold star. The average individual has about 6,000-ish thoughts per day. Now, that does not take into account the millions of bits of information that your brain is processing at every single moment in time. Like, oh my God, I've got my phone in my pocket still. Or I've got the light shining. Or I'm on this stage and I'm wondering what's going on at the back. Or I'm wondering what I'm going to have in the coffee break, or who I might meet. Or I'm thinking about my journey. All of these things are processes that the brain has to kind of assimilate and go through. Now, your brain is a fantastic bit of kit. It will do different things in order to make sure that we don't become lost, from a better word. But it's very easy to lose focus because of the amount of distractions that we have in our daily lives. Now, has anyone here ever tried multitasking? Show of hands, yes or no? How many people find multitasking works? Ish. Yeah, kind of. Sometimes, not consistently. Now, the 5 things that I'm going to speak to you about today, and this is obviously the second one, these are not my 5 commandments handed down by God. This is just my opinion. But I would say, and if you've got pen and paper and you're watching at home, I would say jot this down. Multitasking is the mother of all distraction, right? I've tried it many times and I failed. Not failed hard, but you never get the best out of necessarily everything you're trying to do in that moment, because we're spinning this plate and I've got to get this done and I've got to get this done. So I would say one of the things, my tip for focus would be to try and remain a little bit more present, a little bit more in the moment as we go through our events. Try and focus on the task at hand. I read a fantastic book some time ago called One Thing. I don't know if you've ever read it before. It's a yellow book with black writing. I can't remember if you wrote it, but it's a fantastic book. And what he suggests in this book is that at any one time, we focus on just the one thing, right? You focus on that one thing, and then when that one thing is completed, then you move on to the next task. Now, for us as human beings, we are always seeking out patterns. We're always seeking out the next thing. And it's quite easy to become distracted and lose focus. And when we lose focus, we become disheartened. When we become disheartened, sometimes it's up to our ego. And when that happens, of course, we start to lose faith and belief in ourselves. Now, this whole weekend is about doing good, right? In doing good, one of the things that I believe that we must do is we must remain focused. We've got to try and make sure that we keep an eye on, yes, things that need to be done, because we're all busy. We all have practices, we're all studying, or some of us are studying, some of us are running practices, some of us are running families, etc. But the distractions that exist in our world mean that if we're not careful, we lose focus. And if we lose focus, we lose heart. If we lose heart, we are less likely to do the most good. So that's point number 2. Number 3, bravery. Now, I do apologize. This is completely my fault. Right? Braver. Why? I don't know. Just because. Connor and Mike said to me, could you send through your presentation? Which I did. Now, I love technology as much as the next person, but I'm an old man. I was born in the 80s. We didn't have the internet, right? We didn't have a lot of the stuff that we have nowadays. So I sent it through, and it's come out like this. So thank you, Connor and Mike, for putting it all together. But the sentiment is not lost. Bravery. I mean, this guy or girl seems pretty brave. I don't know if you catch me doing that. But the reason I wanted to bring up this one is that we're living in an age now where there's a lot of stuff happening, right? We're living in a world which is changing quickly. And as much as we have this wonderful medium of the internet with all of the information literally at our fingertips, there's still a lot of stuff that we don't know. There's a lot of things that we don't have the answers to. And that leaves lots of people feeling sometimes a little bit meh, that's the word. Now, be under no illusions. It takes courage to be brave. It takes courage to climb up and do something like this. It takes courage to write down your visions, write down your goals. It takes bravery and courage to share that with another person. It takes bravery and courage to then take action on those things that you write down. So I'm going to be completely selfish here and say the reason I put this in was for one reason and one reason only. This world that we're living in, like I say, I'm a parent of 3 kids, and I do think about the world that they're growing up in. Now, I can do my part, but I am but one man. If I can do my part and I can improve my world, then as a result, I'm hoping that you will benefit. But if individually everybody does their part and we're courageous and we're brave and we stand up for what we believe in and we say the things that are difficult, like Alex was saying, we have this conversation, then everybody benefits. And I think if everybody benefits, then that's got to be a better world, yeah? What do you think? Would you sign up to that? Oh, I hope so. Because many of us get into the profession to help them to do their most good. And I think with that, there's a certain amount of courage and bravery that you need, because we don't get given a blueprint of how the body works. We have a fantastic medium in our hands, and through chiropractic that we can help people. But there's no guarantee that that's going to give them the outcome that they want, right? We just trust the process. And it takes courage, it takes bravery to say, yes, I can help. It takes courage and bravery to say, not only will I help you, but I will guide you. It takes courage and bravery to say, not only will I do that, but I will be there for you when it gets challenging. It takes courage and bravery to believe in the things that you believe in and to stand up for them, even when the profession or the GCC or the government or society say, no, you shouldn't be doing it. It takes courage and it takes bravery. But I'm asking you, if you can, be more courageous, because I'm sure you all are, otherwise you wouldn't be here. I think we're all like-minded. I know that you are. But, like I said, I'm a parent of 3. I'm being selfish in this one. Has anyone ever seen Frozen before? Right? You know that song, Let It Go? Has anyone, have you heard the song? Let it go, right? Let that courage and bravery go. Let it go just by 2 more, by 5 more, by 10 more, just let it multiply, let it go. Because I think, like I say, if we can be individually our most courageous selves and be brave in those difficult moments, If we can do that consistently over time, we all benefit, right? We all benefit as a society. Now, number 4. Hey, happiness. This is what happens in my house if you try and say England can't win the World Cup. You get bitten up, right? So this is my little girl, one of them, and she brings me an insane amount of happiness. She also brings me an insane amount of frustration, but that goes with the territory. I've written happiness because the one thing that I've been practicing of late is a little bit more of a spiritual journey. And I say this loosely because I also do philosophy. And philosophy is an opportunity to think and to look at the philosophers of old and ask difficult ethereal questions and discuss. Well, you know, I always have to come up with an answer, but it's a really good way of critically thinking some of the stuff that we believe to be true. Now, I've written happiness here because how often do we really check along the way if we are happy? Are we having fun? Are we enjoying this journey? Now, there are many different aspects to all of our lives. We have work commitments, we have relationship commitments, we have personal kind of commitments, and all of the fun stuff in between. I am not saying that you need to be happy all the time. I think you'll set yourself up for either being knocked away or put on some serious medication. But I do believe that there are moments in time where you need to pause and you need to think and you need to feel, is this making me happy? Am I doing the most good in this moment with my interaction with whoever's in front of me, or with the goals I'm setting myself, or with whatever, insert the blank, however you so wish. Happiness I've written here because I want you to take a little step back and sometimes, like I say, think about your own standards when it comes to happiness and enjoyment and fun and all the good stuff in between. This weekend here is an opportunity to learn, to grow, to stretch, to challenge. Yes, of course, all those good things. But it's also something which we've all been missing over the past few years, which is that connection, this interaction. It's getting to know people. It's getting to understand how other people think and work and feel. And this all kind of comes under this happiness umbrella. Because quite often we can rush from one thing to another, to another, to another, and we never take real opportunity to have a little think about our own individual happiness, but our collective happiness of the society. So happiness is something which I want us to just be mindful of. And I wrote a quote down because I want to read it to you. It's really struck home when we were going through our philosophy and it was read to us. It really kind of stuck with me. It made me think about why we do certain things. Sometimes we do it because it sounds good, it looks good, it feels good, but a lot of the times it attracts us away from what really makes us happy. So we're chasing things, and invariably we get it, and then we don't feel like it's actually ticked any boxes, so we look for the next thing. So the quote goes like this: "The moving mind looks for happiness in the getting and the experience of things. These do not suffice. For when the mind has one thing, it immediately rushes after another. The still mind finds happiness in everything." Now, one of the things that I practice through the day from time to time, I find like I'm rushing from one thing to the next, is what we call in philosophy the pause. Do you mind if I run through it with you today? Will that be all right? You sure? Are you sure? I think we like it. So if you're sitting comfortably, great, stay as you are. If you're at home and you're sitting comfortably, carry on. If you're not, sit yourself up nice and tall, make sure that your feet are flat on the floor, and I want you all to just for a moment, pause with me, all right? And we're going to find the happiness in the moment. So, take a deep breath in, and breathe out. As you breathe in this time, I want you to pause at the top. And as you breathe out, I want you to gently close your eyes. So breathe out and close your eyes. And in the moment, I want you to just pause. I want you to feel the weight of your body in the chair. I want you to feel your feet on the floor. your hands, whether they may be resting. Just feel your hands. Notice your breathing. Hear the sounds. Notice them, acknowledge them, but don't dwell on them. Try and hear the furthest thing away from you. You might hear some birds chirping, you might hear the buzzing of the lights. But whatever it might be, just try and just be aware of that furthest sound. Be aware of the taste in your mouth, the sensations that you might experience if you just run the tongue on the inside of the teeth. And just take a moment to pause and just be. Now take one more deep breath in and breathe out and open your mouth. Now, I'm not saying that you can do that all the time and that it will make a difference, because sometimes it won't. But as human beings, we are biologically hardwired to do certain things. When we pause, when we breathe, when we're present, we feel happier. We're in a better state, he says, to do better, to do the most good. And that's why I wanted to start happiness. Now, just how am I doing for time, guys? Got another one, are you? All right. I'm going to put this one in just to wrap up. In doing the most good, one of the things that I would encourage you to do from time to time is to dream. And this is why when Mike kind of said, would you mind coming back to speak again? It was a reminder to me that I'd forgotten to dream. I used to, how are we with language, guys? Am I okay to drop a little swear word? A little one? Yeah? Just checking with the boss man. I used to shit myself when I used to be on stage. Public speaking, I did not like. Me and Alex used to work together back in Essex. We used to do health classes. Dean, would you like to do a health class? Not really. Guess what? You're going to do it. All right, fine, I'll do it. I stood up to do a health class one day. I stood up, and I don't know where my brain went, but it was not with me. I could not remember a thing in front of a class of people about the thing that I do 24/7, which is chiropractic. I had no idea what to say. Thankfully, Steve, our boss, came and bailed me up because I had no idea what to say. I was lost. Public speaking from that point became something for me which I endeavored to kind of work hard at, and to get on stage, and to travel, and to share my message, and to speak, and to be brave, and to be courageous, and to find happiness, and all the stuff that we've spoken about. But the past few years has been a bit of a whirlwind, and I've forgotten to dream. So when one can kind of say, would you mind coming out to speak? It was a reminder of me, to get back to dreaming again. What do I want to do? What impact do I want to make? Who do I want to reach and touch? Who do I want to affect? And I encourage you to find time to dream. And I want to read you a little story just in conclusion before I wrap things up. It's a story that I came across when I was, as you do, should I say. You know, you go online, we spoke about focus earlier. You know, you go online for one thing and you end up getting something completely different, right? I went for something and ended up stumbling across the story. I was like, oh my God, it's amazing. So here it is. This story is called Once Upon a Time. Once upon a time, there was a little girl who loved to dream. She would wish upon stars and dream of the future. She would imagine great happiness and seek after new hope. In fact, the little girl spent most of her days wishing and dreaming and hoping for things that would make her life a little less ordinary. Now, the more that she dreamed, the better that she felt. And the better she felt, the more she dreamed. Days and weeks and months passed by, and the little girl continued to wish on stars and wait for the moments when one day her dreams would come true. However, the little girl was so preoccupied with her dreaming that opportunities would pass her by, just like the clouds on the horizon. Now, one evening, when the sky was twinkling with little stars, she noticed something floating by. It was actually a little boy. A little boy clutching desperately onto a rope. and that rope was attached to a twinkling star. The little girl stared in amazement before calling out desperately to the boy, "Hey, are you okay?" The little boy smiled back, and whilst he was clutching onto the rope again, the little girl asked again, "Are you okay? Can I help? What are you doing?" The little boy replied back, "I'm catching my wishing star. I'm going to make my wishes come true." Now the boy steadily began to climb up the rope towards his star as he continued to pass the little girl by. Now the little girl looked up into the sky at all the stars that she'd ever wished on, and there were millions and millions of them, each one of them twinkling in the night sky. Not one of those stars had ever fallen into her lap. Not one of her wishes had ever come true. So this time she decided to do something different. She decided to look to a new star and make a new wish. She picked up a rope, and with all of her might, she threw it into the sky, and it wrapped itself around her chosen star. She grabbed onto that rope for dear life. But this girl knew that her life was about to change, and it was about to change for the better, because she had finally found her ideal, and her journey to make her wish come true had begun. Now, but it struck a chord with me. We strive a lot in our profession to do good. We strive a lot in our lives to do good. And as individuals, there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. I implore you to continue to do that. But I will say this: don't forget to dream. Don't forget that in doing the most good, you have to choose your star. You've got to be courageous. You've got to throw your rope into the sky. You've got to be brave. You've got to be focused. You've got to hold on to that rope with your life and avoid the distraction. And then you've got to climb. You've got to take action. All right? So that, for me, sums up 5 things I think if we can raise our standards in, we stand a much better chance of being able to do the most good. All right, so thank you for your time, for your ears, and it's been an absolute pleasure to come back and speak to you. Thank you.